Welcome back to Heroes Next Door. Thank you for joining us today. Today we are still in Kentwood. We are in Kentwood, Michigan, and we are going to be talking to the chief about their brand new vehicle. The reason we're doing this is because we want to show you guys what it takes to design and implement a vehicle and put it into service. So let's go talk to the chief and let's see how it's done. If you watched our video from last week, we saw this truck while we did the walk around. Now the chief's going to take us through, part of designing it and putting it together.
Hey, Mike.
Thank you for inviting us out.
You bet.
Tell us about your truck.
So this is a 2022 Spartan. It's a pumper, and it's got a 1,500 gallon per minute pump with a 500 gallon tank.
Okay.
And so we're just in the process of receiving this in the last 7 days, and we're working on fully assembling this truck. They don't come with all the tools on it, so that's one thing we need to do is get all the tools installed.
Okay, let's take a look at it. All right, so up front, what do you have to do up front yet? So it doesn't come from the factory.
Yeah, so one thing we have to do is get radios installed so we can communicate with the dispatch center. We have to get a laptop installed so we can get our calls that we're dispatched to with our information on there. And then we also have a very important piece, our headsets, so we can communicate over the radios and talk to each other. And also that dampens the sound from outside from sirens and things.
Okay, so like the fire comm radios that we've had for years.
So that's got to be installed yet.
Okay.
So,
okay. How long does that usually take for a company? That's a third party, or do you guys do that?
So typically we have a third party do that, come in, and that way all the communications are done properly. We will do the radios and the computers on our own.
Okay.
Yep.
With your radio systems, are you able to then communicate with the fire, all the fire side, but also the police and EMS side of it too, or is it strictly your guys' radios?
So the system that we operate on now is an 800 megahertz radio system owned by the state police, and we can talk statewide to anybody.
That's awesome, especially as a fire department. You want to be able to communicate. One of the problems we had back when I was working on the East Coast, during 9/11, we lost communication. So having good communications is the key to any fire service.
You bet. And the radio system is new to us. It's been statewide for many, many years, but we're new to it. At the Kent County Sheriff's Department has implemented this radio system in the last year, and it's worked fantastic.
Way to forward think.
So, you bet.
All right, so this is a 2022, and you got a ton of cabinets.
Yes, we got a ton of cabinets.
How did you determine what goes in what cabinet?
So right off the bat, one of the things this truck does is it does run a lot of EMS calls. So this is quick access to all of our EMS equipment.
Okay.
Very close, so even if the guy in the jump seat comes out, can grab this. There's also a door from the inside where he can access.
Inside-outside compartment.
And he can get to, this is the CPR device. There'll be a medical bag above this with O2 and so forth.
Okay.
And so even if the driver jumps out and grabs it, it's just quicker, and it gets us into the house much quicker.
Is that a pre-design from the factory, or is that something that you guys kind of specially ordered or made? Because I hear a lot of fire trucks are custom made.
Yeah, so this is full custom from bumper to bumper.
Okay.
We spec'd it, what we thought were our needs, and we laid it out, and they drew it out for us until we got right down to the nth detail, and they built it for us.
All right. But how long does that process take?
So this is about a 15-month process from time to design and get it built and get it delivered.
Okay.
And even with certainly product shortages today, it's even a longer process.
Right.
So this is the inside access to the medical compartment, to where anybody riding the jump seat, the firefighter can access our medical equipment. There is a box on both sides.
Okay.
And then back here, we'll end up mounting tools. We've got a storage container underneath here. But one thing with the fire engines today is we try to maintain what we call the clean cab concept. So we don't want air tanks in here. We don't want turnout gear in here. So everybody's going to get their own design compartment on the body itself.
Interesting. So you don't have them built into the seats like a lot of the fire trucks had back in the late 90s and early 2000s. They're getting rid of that and putting it in the cab.
Yeah, so moving everything out, so there's no way for contaminants to get into where the guys are sitting.
Okay. I guess one of the debates on that then would be, what's the speed of getting your gear on? Because, you know, one of the things that I think about, they put it on the seats because I'm ready to go. I jump on the truck, I can go. How much of a delay would you think that would take? It can't be that significant, right?
It's not. Matter of fact, it's just a few seconds.
Okay.
It does not add a whole lot of time whatsoever from what we've looked at. The last several trucks, we've actually started to implement those out of the front officer's seat, and now with this truck, they're no longer in the back seats either.
Right.
You got your own compartment. Ultimately, this is safer for our guys, especially with the contaminants in the cab, and it only takes a few seconds longer to grab it out of the.
That's so forward thinking. It's something that we've never seen yet before, having a clean cab concept on a fire truck.
Yeah.
You know, you think it's just part of the job and you have to deal with it, but you know, with all the cancers that come up and all the health care, you know, you got the gyms, you got that, so you're physically fit cardio, you're actually taking care of it even more.
Yeah, you bet. It's very important, and there is even at the state level some cancer presumption bills that have gone through, so it's definitely recognized that it's a significant problem. So we're doing our part to maintain that.
Good job.
So,
all right, so tell us about this pump panel.
So this is a Waterous 1500 GPM with a 500-gallon tank. This is mirrors our other 3 pumpers, and essentially we really lay this out to try to keep it simple. We do have designated engine operators that drive on every shift.
Okay.
So through a rotation or through 3 shifts, basically 3 different drivers share this rig.
Okay.
So we lay them all out the same. It's pretty simple. For everybody out at home, the water comes in the big one and comes out the little ones.
Okay.
And then we have 3 different speed lays here. So a 2.5-inch line would go here, and these are kind of our initial tack lines.
Okay, and that's color coordinated for each line.
It
so
is.
it makes it easy for the pump operator to know what hose he needs to.
You bet. Yep. You
Okay.
bet. So not much has to be done here. This is all done by the manufacturer. All we have to do is get the hose put on.
How do you lay in the hose? If you're stacking it that way, do you have to kind of shove it through, or does it?
Yes. Yeah, so that's a good question. So these trays are actually removable.
Okay.
So you set them on the floor, you build your hose loads, then you can reinstall them, and then you can reconnect to the swivel.
Makes it simple.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Yeah.
You bet. So this would be the engineer's compartment. So we recently have stacked the equipment. We've assigned members of the department to build out specific compartments.
Okay.
So all the equipment is in there. We've got all the brackets and everything. So they'll start mounting gear to these trays and then to these slide out trays. So then we can get all this stuff mounted and ready to go to get it in service.
Okay. So when you order a fire truck, you don't have pre-designated mounts.
Right.
Why is that?
Well, we decide on our end we would do it on our own. That way we get the right equipment in the exact spot that we want it.
Okay.
And it, quite frankly, it would cost a lot more for someone else to build it for you.
Okay.
So the fire truck costs a lot as it is, so we try to be as fiscal responsible as we can.
Right.
And then and we took a truck out of service, so all this equipment comes over from another truck.
Okay.
And then we just have to remount it, get it ready to go.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it. Just kind of throw it all in there. You know what it needs to be, and now you can set it out and do one compartment at a time.
You bet.
Keep it very organized. I assume that you're going to probably put labels where things go.
Yep. Sometimes we get labels. Sometimes even on the outside. We won't typically have to go on the outside of the doors, but there may be labels specific on stands and mounting brackets, so things are put back in the right spot.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Let's work our way around. This is over the
So this is, again, just another storage compartment where we have our hazardous material response type suits. There's more suits coming. We're still putting this truck together, and that's kind of why we're talking about what we're doing here.
Right.
Different types of rescue ropes and rappelling ropes, and then this is just basically 2 containers of kitty litter that we would use it
For the oil dries.
Yeah, for soak up.
Right, right. So you have 2 other trucks that are very similar to this, right?
Yep, 3.
3 other trucks.
Yep.
Are they set up the identical ways? Is that the intention of what's going on here?
Yeah, they're set up. Most of the compartments are set up almost exactly the same.
Okay.
So we are doing a little transition with the clean cab concept. So we have a little bit of change here where we've added a slide out board for the engineer. Where this truck that's sitting over here does not have that.
Okay.
But we will likely retrofit all the rest of our trucks the same way.
So do you do the screwing through all this brand new nice?
We do, yep.
That would make me very intimidated to screw through something like this.
It
right?
is. And we also drill holes in the roof to put antennas on and things like that.
Okay.
So nobody ever wants to pull the trigger on the drill. So just in case you get the eternal leak.
Right. What are these compartments down here?
So this is just fuel.
Okay.
And this side is for 3 extra air bottles. So should your air pack during a fire become empty, you can just come out and swap out your bottle, put your empty in, and grab a full one.
So with this newer truck, it's you have DEF fluid added to it, correct?
Yep.
So do you necessarily have to have a plume event in your truck or in your stations any longer, or?
Kind of the jury's out on that. We opt to do it anyway, just for the safety fact that it's probably not getting every particle out of the air. So we still have an exhaust system that we hook to in the system in the building to make sure it's sent outside the building.
I also noticed when you were backing it up, it was very, very quiet compared to some of the older trucks. You don't have that, rattly diesel, engine sound. It was much quieter just even backing it up.
Yeah, this has a 450 horse Cummins L9 motor in it.
Okay.
We've been very happy with the Cummins products, and it is very quiet. It doesn't even sound like the diesel of yesteryear, I guess. So here's just, again, another compartment. This will get all of our saws on this tray. This has a battery operated fan, and it'll get a gas fan.
Okay.
And then the blitz fire actually is going to be installed up in the hose bed where the discharge is.
And these trays come out?
Yep, these are all slide out trays.
Oh, okay.
They'll hold about 300 pounds, so we can put everything we would need as far as saws
K12,
goes.
your roof saws, everything you need up there.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah. So we work our way around to the back.
Yep, so on this, we have our rescue struts. So should a car be rolled over, you could get a rescue strut underneath it, and then it will brace that car before we try to get in and extricate a person out of there.
Is this also a rescue engine, or do you have another rescue team that comes out for
So
that?
this would be a rescue engine.
Okay.
Yep, fully licensed as a basic life support vehicle. Yep. And then, so we have, of course, then we'd have a backboard. We have a complement of ladders for the NFPA requirements for a pumper.
Okay.
And then just one pike pole. And then the attic ladder sits right in here for quick access.
Very nice and organized. And
Yep.
this was already done.
This is already done.
This was already done.
Yep.
You kind of pre-designed that as you were talking to them?
Yeah. So this is a redesign for us because the struts go in a compartment on our other vehicle, and we wanted them up and away so we could keep all of our extrication equipment together. And that would go with our Homatro Jaws of Life equipment.
Okay.
So we're trying to keep our rescue equipment on the rear of the vehicle.
Right.
So,
now you're still going with the hydraulics. A lot of new companies are starting to go to the battery-powered Hearst tools or Homatro or whatever.
Yep.
But this is an excellent system. Used it for many, many years. Very reliable.
So we did recently on one of our other machines, we did buy a full system that's all battery. We're very happy with it, and we will likely go to that in the future.
Okay.
Yep.
So what are these things, before we go out, what are these things? These are steps to go up top, right?
Yeah, these are flip down steps.
Okay.
So when you need them, you bring them down. They're required, again, by national standard to be lit. So there's a light for each of those.
Okay.
You can jump up, and our large diameter hose, 5-inch hose, would be stored on the top.
Okay.
As well as 2.5-inch hose on the top.
Okay.
So should you use it or need it, you go up there and grab it, or reload the hose when you're done,
Right.
and then these just fold up out of the way when you're done.
Right. One of the recent things that we saw is almost like one of those life hacks. We went to a company down in Pennsylvania, Ralpho. When they load their hose, they did 100-foot sections on one side, they did their 5-inch supply, and then 25-foot sections on the other.
Sure.
So you don't have to flake out as much. I thought that was pretty
That's
cool.
a great idea. You bet. You bet. That's why we watch the channel, because we come up with good ideas.
Yeah.
Everybody's got some ideas that we all can use.
All your tools.
So these are all tools to be mounted yet.
Okay.
So this is going to also be the firefighter's compartment. The firefighter that rides in the back. All his gear will be hung on one of these boards. These
And
are both
those
slide
boards
out
come
boards.
out?
Yep, these are both slide out boards. So he'll have an air tank, and all his gear will be in a compartment here.
Okay.
Yep.
Pulls out like that.
Yep. That is all So then all these tools will be mounted, so when he comes back and gets his turnout gear on, these tools will all be mounted on the board, and basically he's ready to go.
Right.
Grab his tools, he's got his air pack, he's got his turnout gear, and he's ready to go to work.
Right. Did you end up putting all the reflectors on, or did the...
That's all done by the manufacturer.
Okay,
Yep.
that's a good
So
idea,
if it's-
especially when you're on the roadway, it's sticking out like that.
You bet.
Having that reflective is going to be very important.
So this is where our high-rise packs will go. So they're still being built here. You can see the strap. So that would be 150 feet of hose where we
Okay.
would go and tap into a tall building might have a
Standpipe.
system
Yep.
in a stairwell. So this is what would go into here, and then again, this is our slide out also, so it's easier to grab.
Yeah, save your back a little bit. by
You
doing
bet.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe the rip pack go up here too?
So we have a rip pack. Yep, there's a rip pack that would go in here. We also would carry. We have a net we'll install here for all of our soft splints.
Okay.
So yep. And then again, here is another area for additional air bottles.
Right, and that's the same thing.
That's a little bit of a catch-all compartment, so
Okay.
where we can keep extra head blocks for our EMS.
Right, right. The one thing I didn't notice, and maybe I just passed by it, would you carry any cribbing or anything like that?
Yeah, so the cribbing goes up on top in
Okay.
a dunnage compartment, and we can hop up there in just a minute.
Okay, we'll take a look at that in a
Yeah,
little
you
bit.
bet. Again, more storage. This will be the officer's compartment. So this is where his turnout gear will go. His helmet will be hung in here. His air pack will be on the slide-out tray.
Okay.
And when he gets dressed, he comes out here. He can grab an extinguisher or a tool to get to work.
Yeah, I like the fact that you're designing each seat with their own compartment.
You bet.
It almost gives it that personal feeling and that organization. I know what's in my compartment. I come in and check my compartment. I know where my gear is, and I don't have to wear it in front of the cab.
Yep.
That's
you bet.
definitely something that I have not seen yet on any of the fire trucks that we've gone to.
Yeah, and it's important to us. We've had 3 members that have had cancer, so it's very important to us to try to do our best to stop it.
Well, good job.
So this is the firefighter's compartment. This is just the opposite side of the
Right.
pump panel. And this is the firefighter's area. Again, we have another medical compartment here with access on both sides. These are also heated compartments to make sure
Okay.
we don't have anything freeze. And then we have 2 firefighter seats there. Typically, this engine would run with 3 people.
Right, right.
Yep.
Now, when we're talking about these hose lay-throughs on the other side, I noticed all the other fire trucks that we've gone to, you load it from the top, so I got to climb up. This is actually more of a safety issue. I was thinking as I was walking around, this pulls out, I can load it down here, and I don't have to climb up on a truck
Right.
and put it in, because there are accidents that happen when you fall off trucks.
Absolutely.
So that limits that by doing it that way.
Yep, these fabricated trays, again, just sit in here, but they sit just below this lip, so when you pull the hose, you won't pull the tray.
Right.
But you can lift the tray out and then reload it on the ground, and then slide it back in, and then you'll hook back to the pump underneath.
Very good concept.
Yeah, you bet. Again, medical compartment that's under construction.
Yep, that's the inside-outside compartment,
Yep.
your AEDs. And the AEDs are required by licensure to be on a truck.
Yep.
Whether
yep.
you do an EMS or for your own truck, is that correct?
Yep, all of our licensed stuff has AED and has a CPR or Lucas device.
Okay.
So, we just feel it's very important to have the Lucas devices. It's a much better CPR.
Yeah.
It's getting the exact rate and the exact depth on the chest that it's supposed to.
And it doesn't get tired.
And it doesn't get tight. And you can always plug it in and it'll run forever. So, and it's a great thing for the patient.
Right, right.
So this is the officer's seat. It's Michigan, so it does get cold. So we do have floor heat on both sides.
Okay.
Which is nice, especially after a long incident.
Right.
So this side is typically where the captain and lieutenant would sit.
Okay.
And then we'll have a computer up here. The radio system is just getting installed, and that's about it.
Okay.
Try to keep it clean.
Okay. Now up here, would you have maybe your gas meter or a tick or anything like that, or would that be mounted in the back also?
So typically the TIC, the thermal imaging camera, will be loaded in the back.
Okay.
So the firefighter has access to it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. What kind of information would you store on a laptop? Why is a laptop important for any kind of vehicle?
So the important piece about that is you get all your communications with dispatch.
Okay.
We have all of our pre-incident planning, so all of our building maps are on there.
Right.
And then we have communication with dispatch all the time.
Okay.
So If we need to look at a route, how to get there, we can look at the building. We can look at the map. What's the best way there? Dispatch can send us information on the building. They can give us dispatch updates on that call without being on the radio.
Right.
So
it limits the radio traffic.
It limits the radio traffic. There's a lot of other little things that we store on there through our own in-house system.
Okay.
But probably the biggest benefit is the dispatch.
Okay. Okay. What do we have up front on the bumper?
So this is what we call the trash line, or we typically use for a car fire.
Yep.
So we pack in about 100 feet.
Almost like a booster reel.
Yeah, yep. 100 feet of regular structural line.
Right.
And then you can park defensively to get traffic, so
Right.
they're not right in coming up to you. And then we can stretch that line and go put a car fire out, and it's pretty easy to pick up when you're done.
Right, right. Now, some of them don't know what this is. Can you explain what this is?
So this is a federal Q.
Okay.
This is a mechanical siren. So the one you're coming down the road screaming, this is making all the noise.
Yes,
So
this is the one that you recognize a fire truck.
Yep, it's not the ambulance siren. This is
It's
a
not
different,
a cop. It's
Yep.
not an ambulance. This
Yep.
is very specific to the federal queues for firefighters.
Yep, every truck we have here has got them on there. It's about the best traffic mover we can come up with.
Okay. How about we just work our way back to the back and we'll go look up top, and then we're pretty much done, right?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, this is absolutely beautiful. I appreciate that you guys take the time to think about where you're putting your tools and taking care of your staff members. It's not just about taking care of the community, but it's about taking care of your staff members just as much.
Yep, we need to keep our guys healthy as best we can.
Okay, let's head up top and see what you have up there. So now up here, normally this would be your hose bed, which is where the 5-inch and your supply lines are, right?
Yep, that's where we store about 1,000 feet of hose.
What normally would go in here?
So typically we would put a generator here, but with advances in technology, everything we have now is all 12 volt and LED. It just doesn't. We don't have the draw that we used to have.
Right.
So we really don't need the generator. Even portable lights we would use on the scene, they're all battery operated now, and we don't need generators.
Yeah.
So it saves some money.
And weight on the truck.
Saves some weight on the
those
truck.
generators were not light.
Absolutely.
We go back to one of our videos, T-neck video. They have a huge 1987, I think, ambulance that has a massive generator on it.
Sure.
And that's a lot of weight on a truck.
That's a lot of weight, and again, it's a lot of money, so it's some area we can cut, so it just makes sense to cut it.
What are these?
So these are fill towers. So this is a fill tower for the water, as it says, and this is a fill tower for the foam system. So this has got a integral 20-gallon foam tank.
Okay.
So we
You're
can
running
add
Class
foam.
A, Class B?
We run a Class A foam
Class A
system.
foam?
Yep. So
Okay.
20 gallons there, and then it's proportioned through the pump.
Okay.
So it comes out of 3 discharges.
Right. And then you said the cribbing gets stored up here.
So we have some cribbing that's not up here yet, and we also store our Mustang suits.
Oh, wow, okay.
And we store our life jackets. So
Okay.
we do water rescue also. So typically, should we get a water rescue call, the guys grab this before we get to the scene, so they'll have this stuff ready to go on the way to the call.
Right.
So,
And me growing up in Michigan, I wanted to let you guys know, you can't walk a mile in a straight line without hitting some body of water here on the western side of Michigan.
there's a lot of water around. We don't have any large lakes, but it only takes a pond or a large, a large pond to cause a problem.
Or a stream or
Yep.
a river or creek.
And we do help some neighboring jurisdictions. I think we've had 3 water rescue calls in the last month. So it definitely happens, but we don't have a lake in our area.
This is an awesome way to use all the available space.
Yeah.
I would think this would be more of a wasted space, but you guys took the time and figured out, hey, there's area here that we can store stuff, maybe stuff that you might not use every day.
Yeah.
But it's important for a truck.
You bet. So we just utilized some vacant space above the fire pump, and we had the Spartan was able to build us a box here with a lid on it, and it works out awesome for the stuff you don't need all the time, but you need it with you.
Right. Now this is going to be what?
This will be a deck gun.
Okay.
So this will be the master stream, and this has just got a cap on it for the moment.
Sure.
The deck gun will come, and it'll be just a solid pipe basically, and it'll swivel on this thing. That was back ordered, but should be here in the next couple of weeks. And that is, should you get to a large fire, you need a lot of water quickly, you'd flow out of this master stream.
More of that defensive until you can get it knocked down.
You bet.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
you bet.
yeah. Very beautiful truck. This is absolutely awesome. Thank you for showing us around.
You bet.
The last question I have before we finish this up is, how do you do maintenance on this? This is a flip cab. How do you get to the engine and those kind of things?
Yeah, so underneath where we're standing here is there's a control, electronic control.
Okay.
So there's a release, you pull the release and the whole cab flips almost vertically, about 50 degrees or so. And
Is that panel also to get to your pumps then too?
Yep, you can get to the pump this way, and then part of the panel on this side is actually removable also. So you can get in to service the pump.
Okay, so it's pretty easy to get to service.
Absolutely, you bet.
Yeah, so thank you for showing us around.
You bet.
We
Thanks,
appreciate it. Hopefully you guys as viewers really appreciate all the thought process it takes to set up a truck like this. It's not just order it from the factory and boom, you get a fire truck. You got to make it very specific for your area. You got to make it very specific for the tools that you use and things like that. This is a perfect way to show you guys. Every truck's set up a little bit different. Take the time and set it up. Thank you for watching Station Rigs. Do us a favor, hit subscribe, hit notification, so we can keep bringing you more. We're trying to get to that 100,000 subscriber, and with you guys, we can do it. So we'll see you again next week. Thanks for watching.